Good afternoon all and welcome to the Democratic Services Committee meeting this afternoon. My name is Karen Bowen. I'm the Democratic and Scrutiny Services Officer supporting the meeting this evening. The meeting is being live streamed and recorded. So for the benefit of those viewers viewing at home as well, and for the members who are actually on the remote call, can I also ask that all discussions are held during the meeting and that the chat function is only used to let us know if there's any technical difficulties, so that all conversations can be held for the benefit of those viewing at home. Thank you very much. I'll now hand over to the Chair, Councillor Johnson.
Thank you very much, Karen. I'm Councillor Ian Johnson. I will be chairing the Democratic Services Committee for Vale of Glamorgan Council, speaking through the medium of Welsh, so hopefully you will be able to hear a translation at the moment. There's just one substantial item on the agenda today, which is a consultation of the Independent Remuneration Panel for Wales draft annual report. Before we begin the conversation today, I'd like to introduce James Langridge Thomas to the committee. James is new head of Democratic Services in Vale of Glamorgan. So if I may ask James to introduce himself before we forge ahead with the agenda. James.
Irish Thomas. I've recently started in Vale of Glamorgan Council as Head of Democratic Services. So I'm previously from Powys County Council, but I'm looking forward to working with yourselves moving forward. Thank you, Chair.
Great.
Thank you very much, James. Really looking forward to working with you. And I'm sure that everybody shares the sentiment. So, if I can forge ahead with the agenda. Firstly, are there any apologies for absence today?
Karen?
Yes, Chair, thank you very much. I have apologies from Councillor Hamilton, Councillor Sally Hanks and Councillor Joe Prothero.
Okay, diolch yn fawr.
Thank you. Are there any other apologies from committee members?
Nagos?
If not, we'll progress to item 2, which is the minutes of the last meeting, which took place in summer, in July. So is everybody happy for us to be able to approve the minutes from the meeting? Great. Anybody able to second that?
Maybe not either.
Okay, I'll go ahead and do so. Thank you. And then we move on to item 3, which is whether there are any declarations of interest. So we've only got one item this afternoon relating to the Independent Remuneration Panel. Draft annual report. Everybody who is a member of the council has the right to receive an allowance as a result of this. So there's no reason for that to be noted, but I do note, as we did last year, that a number of members of the committee also receive a higher salary as a result of other duties which they hold within the council, including Councillor Perks and Councillor Carroll, Councillor Thomas and myself. So it's just something for us to note. Would anybody like to add any further comments on this?
Just move we note the 4 in receipt of enhanced payments.
Councillor Carroll.
Yeah, just to second that.
Yeah, good. Okay.
Marvellous. Thank you. So, if we move on to item 4, which is the report on the consultation, if I could ask Karen Bowen to present the item. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. First of all, then, this report is regularly received by Democratic Services, is considered by Democratic Services on a regular basis. The IRPW, Independent Remuneration Panel for Wales report, and the Council itself has in the past agreed to abide by the determinations of the IRPW. However, every year, members are consulted on the document and given the opportunity to make any representations to the IRPW, which have to be presented by the 29th of November this year. Attached to the agenda are Appendices A and B. Appendices A is the actual draft annual report, and Appendices B is a supplementary report that they've undertaken a supplementary review in relation to lay members of corporate joint committees. So there are two aspects to consider today, although at Appendix C, which is a draft response that I have drafted on behalf of the committee for its consideration today, and obviously amendments can be made. And that Appendix C includes the determination that the IRPW have made in relation to CJCs as outlined in their Appendix B. If we first of all go to Appendix A, this report refers to the 9 determinations that they have made, which includes the CJCs. But just for the benefit of the public viewing at home, there is reference in the report to previous reports where things like care and expenses, care responsibilities and expenses have been provided in previous reports, and they've not included in this one because they're saying that those previous comments they've made and the previous determinations still stand. So it's really a consultation on the ones included within the report. For context then, just to advise that in paragraph 2.3 of the report, I've noted that the panel advises they believe fair and reasonable levels of remuneration are crucial to local democracy and have therefore continued to align their levels of remuneration for elected members of principal councils, national park and fire and rescue authorities within the context of the average Welsh earnings by using the annual survey of hours and earnings within Wales, in brackets, the abbreviations are ASH, published by Office for National Statistics as the main benchmark for setting remuneration. So that's how they've considered what members should receive in light of those recommendations. And Appendix A obviously provides the detail of those. I should point out that the actual objectives of the panel, as referred to in paragraph 2.6, to make evidence-based determinations and to use clear and accessible communications, to proactively engage and consult, which they're doing today, to simplify compliance and reporting, and to work collaboratively. I should also point out that this report was sent to all members of the Vale Council, including co-opted and lay members of the Vale Council, when it was received a couple of months ago. And each individual member also has the opportunity, as well as the committee today, to make their own individual representations if they wish to do so by the 29th of November. I think the report is self-explanatory. However, just to point out that the report in relation to the CJCs is a new report. And as I said earlier, the IRPW undertook an independent review back in the summer. And as a result of that they're now bringing forward their determinations on that for consideration to the panel today. If we look at Appendix C, which is, as I said, my draft response to the proposals, determinations in their view, I don't know if members want to go individually through the determinations. There's only, 9 of them, and it may be worthwhile just quickly running through them for the benefit of the viewers at home. Sorry, Chair.
Yes, just mynd I cytuno gyda.
Sorry, I was just going to agree with this because normally, as there is a discussion around a number of these determinations, in particular, usually in regards to the first one, the basic level of salary for the year, So it would be worth for us to have a discussion as a committee on a number of these aspects.
Thank you, Chair. Then obviously the first basic, the determination in respect to the basic salary is for all elected members of principal councils to receive an allowance of 19,771, which is approximate 6% rise. But as I said earlier in the report, the panel consider this to be fair and equitable in relation to local democracy and in line with the ASH recommendations.
Yeah, absolutely, Carol. 6% is the increase for the median employee according to ASH this year, but it is something, therefore, for the committee to discuss whether we would like to agree with the suggestion, and if we want to propose anything else or furthermore to that determination. Or does any member of the committee have any comments regarding this? Councillor Thomas.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Thank you, Karen, for your introduction to this and background. I have a question on what you said earlier, and that's: do we know if you mentioned individual councillors could make comment to the IRPW? Do we know if any comments were made? Are we in a position to know that even? And as
not at the moment in time. Sorry, not at this moment in time. I'm not. Sorry, I can't. I don't know. It's a matter for a member to go directly back to them. Okay. And the other thing is, the IRPW is by its nature independent. It makes its decisions based on the statistics that are available and the expected workload of individual councillors, which they state is 3 working days at least per week that we're expected that we should be doing, and that we've traditionally taken the position that we accept their recommendations as stand, maybe with some comment, but in terms of the basic salary, I think it reflects the changes nationally in the average wage in Wales, and that we should accept this. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Thomas. I take that you would like to move that we
move officers' recommendations in full, the both recommendations that we have at the start of the report.
Okay.
Thank you. Councillor Carroll.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Karen, for the presentation. To put my position across, which does not align with the position that Councillor Thomas has expressed, I don't think these proposed recommendations from the independent panel are appropriate. I think, once again, there is a level of tone deafness when it comes to the situation that our constituents are experiencing and the rises that are being proposed, which are above inflation. I note in the past that this committee has made representations to the independent panel to suggest that we don't think that its recommendations are appropriate. I would suggest it would be wise for us to do so again. I note what Councillor Thomas said about this being an independent panel, but this is a consultation process, and I think that it would be a good idea for this authority to make its views known that we don't think that the proposed increases are appropriate.
Okay, diolch yn fawr.
Thank you very much, Councillor Carroll. Councillor Perks.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to second Councillor Thomas's recommendation, and the reason for that, I think it's, as it's contained in the report, that this is actually based on the Welsh national average of salary for this level of work, and I think, sort of the basic salary for the councillors. I think it is necessary to ensure that we encourage people to participate in the democracy, to stand for, in these positions and the work that they undertake. So yes, I'm seconding Councillor Neil Thomas's recommendation.
Okay, diolch yn fawr.
Thank you very much, Councillor Perks. I've got to see a hand up from Councillor Penn, who's not a member of the committee, if I remember correctly. Is everybody happy to hear from Councillor?
If committee are minded to allow Councillor Penn to speak.
Happy to agree that.
Cynghorydd?
Councillor Penn?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes.
Brilliant. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I understand I'm not a member of the committee. All I wanted to do was highlight, bring attention to the scrutiny committee's attention, the fact that care costs, reimbursed care costs and childcare costs are paid back through allowances, and as such are taxed then. So any childcare or care costs are taxed and not paid back in full. So anyone who has caring duties or childcare duties and needs to make an application for reimbursement is then taxed on that money that they pay out for childcare. And I don't think that that's fair or appropriate if a member has childcare or caring duties.
Okay. Diolch yn...
Thank you very much. I'm trying to work out where, if we do want to put that point across, where exactly would be the best place for us to be doing that.
I can make, put it as a separate point that you'd like to raise based on the fact that the care costs were in the previous submission a couple of years back, and that this report is saying they remain. And just to remind everyone that it causes expenses, and HMRC is a matter for HMRC. So, but we can make that point, and I know it's been made before, and we can make that point separately, so I can add it at the end.
Okay, diolch yn fawr, Karen.
Thank you very much, Karen. Councillor Penn?
Only because it's an actual cost and it's a cost you can't avoid. So I just don't think it should be taxed then. I think it should be reimbursed in full, which is fair to the carer, I think, personally.
Okay.
So thank you for allowing me to speak, Councillor Johnson.
Okay, diolch yn fawr.
Thank you very much, Councillor Penn. Just to confirm, according to the list of membership that I have, Karen, Councillor Charles isn't a member of the committee. So there are notes in the chat.
Councillor Marnie, who is a member of the committee, has recently joined, and he's also got his hand up to speak. Thank you.
Okay, he's got his hand up. Was your hand up, Kevin, for you to be able to say that you'd arrived, or did you actually want to speak on the topic? We're discussing determination 1, which relates to the basic level of salary for elected members of principal councils. So for information, Councillor Marnie, several members have spoken in favour of the proposal, and one has spoken against. So this is the opportunity for any members to make note of regarding the sum or amount being proposed, 19,771, which represents a 6% increase in comparison to last year, aligning with ASH increase, which is a benchmark for councillors.
Oes.
Are there any other comments to be made on this area?
Felly,
So, Councillor Carroll has spoken against. Councillor Thomas and Perks have supported the proposal. Would anybody else like to speak on this?
nag oes.
No. So may I suggest that we accept the determination, which is no comment, and to note the comments from Councillor Carroll in the minutes. Councillor Carroll?
Can I suggest that we also write to the IRPW on the matter of childcare and caring responsibilities and reimbursement, and the fact that it's taxed, and that I accept that it's a matter for the tax body in London, but it is a matter of concern. It isn't addressed in this year's report, as Councillor Penn pointed out to us, and that perhaps we should respond to that.
Yeah, between
Okay, I'm happy for us to do that. Aside from that, are we happy to agree with determination 1? Of course, councillors have a right to write to the panel if they disagree and to provide their views either way. Councillor Perks.
Cynghorydd Perks, mae gen ti law i fyny.
Councillor Perks, you had your hand up?
So, sorry, apologies. I was trying to do a thumbs up, but I could only find that button. So, yes, I agree with what you said.
Okay. Cynghorydd Bruce.
Councillor Bruce.
This is based on 3 days a week. Am I correct? Did I hear that correctly?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
In other words, I got to cut down from 6 days a week down to 3 days a week, is it? I'm just saying that, do we look at the amount of work that each councillor does? Is there any determination on that?
Do it, Matt.
It's not, or this panel does a review quite frequently, which has come to the conclusion that councillors do 3 days of work compared with somebody in an ordinary job. And so, as a result, they suggest that councillors receive 60% of the average wage. And this would go up annually based on what others would receive. So because the ASH survey, the annual survey of hours and earnings, has increased by 6% between 23 and 24, they suggest the same increase for councillors in the coming year.
Sorry, yes, I understand that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, does anybody ask councillors how much work they do? I'm not disagreeing, I'm just wondering if there is anywhere that people get asked many times.
Mae'r panel.
The panel conducts surveys and focus groups with councils in order to ascertain this.
Never seen any. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So it seems as though Councillor Marnie is having some technical issues. would this be possible to be resolved?
Do my Shane.
I wouldn't want anybody to leave or not to have the opportunity to contribute to this conversation.
Councillor Marnie, can I suggest, if you can hear me, can you please go out of the meeting, leave completely the meeting and click out of the browser, then go back to your email that was sent this afternoon and click on the browser again. But if you are using headphones, can you make sure those headphones are in before you join the meeting, not after you've joined? Thank you. In the meantime, I will ask my colleague Liz to try and give you a call if you're still having issues.
Apologies. I would like to make sure that Councillor Marnie can contribute to the discussion before we draw to a close, if that's okay. So just to reiterate, Councillor Thomas and Perks have spoken in support of the idea of making no comment, but to note the points raised by Councillor Penn in relation to payments or repayments. Councillor Carroll has spoken against, and this is 4 minuting.
I've definitely made note of those comments that have been received. I can see that Councillor Kevin Marnie is still in the meeting. I don't know if he's actually left and rejoined or whether he's trying to join on the browser again, but he needs to leave the meeting. If you can hear me, Councillor Marnie, you need to leave the meeting and then rejoin. But you're still on my screen as in the meeting. But I have asked my colleague Liz to try and contact you to see if we can get you back on.
Okay, my Kinghoreth Marnie would.
Okay, Councillor Marnie does seem to have left the meeting now according to the attendance list. So hopefully he'll be able to come back in shortly. And then we can forge ahead.
Kinghoreth Marnie, which can get it.
Councillor Marnie, you're with us?
I can see Councillor Marnie seems to be in the car, Chair. Yes, it's because of where you are, Councillor Marnie. I would think if you're in the car, it's your connection to Wi-Fi may be an issue.
Okay,
But-
I'm not driving, obviously.
No, I know you're not driving, but I could see you're in a car. You are in a car, though, yeah? Did I get that right?
in Wrexham.
Yeah, I thought you were in a car. Sorry, I know you're not driving, but I just wanted to double check. But I can hear you. So, and we know you're there because I've seen you. So if the committee are happy, I think leave your camera off and we can hear your comments. It may be better Wi-Fi connection then. Committee, are you happy for us to go ahead with Councillor Marnie?
I'm happy to be able to listen to Councillor Marnie. If he would like to speak on any topics, would he like to speak?
Marnie, do you want to go ahead?
Hello, can you hear me now? It's coming in and it's going out all the time.
Yes, we can.
Can you go?
Yes, we can hear you. Unfortunately, we can't hear you now, I'm afraid. We could hear you then, but not now.
Have you got me now? I can hear what's going on, but it's just coming in and out. Okay, I'll do my best.
Like you do these things remotely, isn't it, Kevin?
Hello. Yeah, that's why I come in. I'm at a funeral in Wrexham. I do my best, yeah.
Okay, Kevin. We've had a discussion for around 20 minutes on the the basic salary for elected members in 25-26. Do you want to make any comment on that before we wrap up on that and move on to other things?
No, there's not much every year. I make the same comments every year, so it's not a great deal of point. But I get that. I've certainly seen the agenda. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. Okay, right, Dr. Vale, just on your mind, Captain.
Great. I just wanted to confirm that you did have the opportunity to contribute. So, if the committee is happy, we'll set ahead. So, no comment on the increase apart from those relating to Councillor Penn's comments, and Councillor Carroll's comments will be in the minutes, and people do have the right to the panel in relation to the consultation up until Friday of this week. Okay, so if we move on to determination 2, Karen, would you like to speak around this?
Yes, Chair, happy to do that. Councillor Marnie, if you don't mind, can you turn your knock the big red button off, because you're on screen but you just blacked out. If you just turn the big red button off, and when you want to come back on by pressing that button, that'd be lovely. Thank you. Determination 2 then, Chair, is on a similar principle to the previous determination, whereby the determination panel have obviously considered the increase in line with ASH again. And you can see in the appendix that I've completed at the bottom and over the next page, the senior salaries and so the SRA, special responsibility allowances, that increase will mean. And the first column shows the current position, and the second column shows the increase from next April the 1st.
Okay, diolch yn fawr, Karen.
Thank you very much, Karen. Is there any comments from any members of the committee?
Oes nad oes.
If there are no comments, can we agree for no comment on this one?
Councillor Thomas?
Councillor Thomas?
No, I was just that was supposed to be a thumbs up, like Sandra's problem. I'm agreeing.
Yeah, dwi'n gwybod ti'n ond cymryd.
Yeah, okay, great. If we're happy with this, with nobody speaking against. Determination 3, Karen?
Dwi ddim yn credu oes y gynnu, but yeah.
Determination 3 relates to chairs of a joint overview and scrutiny committee and vice chair. And again, the authority I've put down makes no comment on this increase. And it's a matter for the committee to consider as well. Thanks.
I don't think these things are going to have a great number of comments from us here, Karen. So I don't know if you want to talk through, and if anyone then wants to indicate they want to speak, then otherwise we'll take things as read, just for the sake of time. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, I see no comment on screen. Nobody wants to raise any queries on that one. And then payments to national park authorities and fire and rescue authorities. Obviously, this is a matter for them as well. And again, I'm determining that the authority makes no comment on the increase. So again, I can see no comments, no anybody wishing to speak on that matter. So I'll take that the comment I've written in the report is fine. Co-opted member payments. This is co-opted member payments to co-opted and lay members of the council. This is determination 5. And they did make a change last year and this year regarding the stipulation of hourly rates. And again, last year, the authority said, and I'm saying the same this year, we support the introduction of the flexibility to use an hourly rate where appropriate. However, I would like to make a comment for the panel to consider, for the committee to consider whether or not you wish to make representations to the panel, because I just want to highlight the fact that following the introduction of the Local Government and Elections Act 21, there were some responsibility increases for the G&A committee and the Standards Committee. For example, the G&A committee, it now has to have a lay member, and the vice chair must also be a lay member. And with regards to Standards Committee, they have to produce an annual report, and they also have to monitor compliance with the group leader duty. I'm only raising these as a point that at the recent meeting of Heads of Democratic, concerns were raised with the IRPW who were present then, that the allowances for statutory co-opted members had not been increased for a number of years. It's possible that could deter members from continuing in their role, or it could make it difficult to recruit new members. And I just wanted to highlight that because I wanted you to be aware that those discussions had taken place and that those points of view had been given to the IRPW at that stage. And it was we met after this report had been produced. So it's just for you to consider really as a committee if you want to make any representations. But again, as I pointed out earlier in my introduction, all members, including co-opted and lay members of the council, have been sent this consultation. So if they wish to make individual representations, they can do so by the 29th themselves.
Okay, diolch yn fawr, Karen.
Thank you very much. Karen, if I understand correctly, IRPW has heard comments from the officers in relation to this and the concerns. So the question is, if you ask us to do this, as this hasn't been written as one of the determinations or suggestions in this document, so what are you asking us to do, Karen?
I'm just asking you for your comments. Are you in support of... we're not saying we're in support. We're just making the comment that they haven't had an increase in the last 4 years, well, the last few years. Whether you as a committee want to say the same, or I can just say that we are aware that Head Democratic have made comments that the IRPW should consider. I'm not saying you have to, but I'm just saying it'd be remiss of me not to let you know that that was raised at Heads Democratic, that the increases haven't been raised. And again, as I said, the co-opted independent members can write themselves, so the lay members can write themselves. But it's just a matter, I wanted to make sure you were aware of that in case something came out further down the line.
Okay, diolch. Cynghorydd Thomas.
Councillor Thomas.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I think Karen makes an important point. Our expectations of our lay members is quite high. We expect them to do an important job in overseeing some of the workings of the council to make sure that we are doing things in the correct way and that we are if you like, governed by them in some ways. And for them, kind of caliber of person that we need to do that, the qualities of and skills that they need to have, we should be recognising that in their remuneration. Flat amounts and the amount of work that they're doing as well. I mean, certainly in producing reports and working on reports, which I suspect they're doing. The recognition of the remuneration for that is probably less than the amount of work that they're having to do. So I'd support Karen's suggestion that we do make comment on this to that effect.
Okay, diolch. Oes.
Thank you. Are there any other comments on the topic from members of the committee?
Are you happy for me to note that comment then, Chair, within the response, or you just want to leave it that Heads of Democratic have made that comment already?
My Cynghorydd Thomas.
Councillor Thomas has suggested that we note this. In my humble opinion, I would say something similar to...
We note the important work carried out by co-opted lay members in contributing to the council, in particular following the changes as a result of the 2021 Act, and we want to be assured that the payments made are at an appropriate rate to ensure that it reflects the amount of work that is carried out, and at a rate which allows the quality of high standard of lay member to participate within the local authorities. Do you agree with Phil?
Would something like that be what would you think, Councillor Perks?
Yes, I agree with both yourself and Councillor Thomas, Chair.
Okay, so that's my.
Okay, so if Karen can write something along those lines, I think that would be good. Thank you.
Thank you, members.
So onwards to number 6.
Yeah, this one is around corporate lay members of a corporate joint committee. And I think, having considered your determinations earlier, I think you're probably going to be agreeing with this determination. So I don't think there's anything further for me to add on this one, Chair, but happy if there is.
I'm happy with that. I don't see any hands.
The next one then relates to members of town and community councils. And again, last year, what we were saying last year, the authority makes no comment on the proposal, but supports the principle that members should be reimbursed. And again, town and community councils can make their representations themselves directly to the IRPW as well. So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's worth noting.
So it's worth noting that myself and a number of others on the call are town and community councillors as well. But this is up to them to make comment. Nobody raising their hands, so on to number 8, determination 8.
I think, as you said earlier, Chair, again, the authority supports the principle of alignment with reporting the cost of care and personal assistance allowance. I have taken into account Councillor Penn's comments, which you want me to put in. These are slightly different. This is to do with financial loss and an optional payment. And then the last one, determination 9, again, I think this is one, again, the committee would want to support the principle of alignment with reporting of the cost of care and personal assistance allowance, but also, again, reflecting Councillor Penn's comments earlier. Thank you.
Yeah,
yeah, I'm happy with that. So that concludes the suggestions or those determinations. Are there any comments from members of the committee, or can we move to the recommendations?
To go with my Kinghorwith Thomas.
I know that Councillor Thomas has already proposed this, but now that we've heard or we've made the decisions regarding to the responses to the consultation, it would be more suitable if he can move once again to note
as well.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Councillor Thomas. So we'll note the report, the draft report, in light of the conversation, and we'll write back as part of the consultation. So Councillor Thomas has moved. Is there anybody who is happy to second that? Councillor Perks, thank you very much.
Chair.
Great, Sandra.
So that item is concluded. There are no further urgent items under number 1 or part 2. So thank you all for your attendance in the meeting this afternoon and for your contributions to the discussion. Thank you to all. And the next meeting will take place in the spring. But I think it might be too soon to say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. So perhaps we'll wait until one of the following meetings.
Too soon. Thank you very much.
Okay, just